Welcome to the ReWire podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Stewman, and I'm here to rewire your mind for success. We're glad that you're here. All right, I'm going to say some stuff that you probably heard a lot of other folks that have podcasts and books and stuff say, but just hear me out, because it's the thought behind the thought on this show that matters. It's not the original thought. It's how this whole podcast is how I think about these thoughts that I'm going to be giving you. So just hear me out on that, right? We hear the term abundant thinking all the time. Oh man, you got to be an abundant thinker. You got to think more abundantly. And a lot of people, they hear that. It sounds good. You know, probably something written in a book like The Secret or Think and Grow Rich. But what does it really mean? And so we know we're supposed to be an abundant thinker, but most of us are on the scarcity side of life. Most folks, that's where they live. Whether you have money or not, I know a lot of rich people that still live on the scarcity side of life. Matter of fact, one of the biggest problems that I see is once people get it, they stop playing big because they're scared to lose it. That's scarcity. That's not abundance. Abundance is continuing to play big, believing that you got more coming your way. You see, scarcity mindset, especially if you come from humble beginnings like myself and probably you, the listener, you come from humble beginnings. We were born with a scarcity mindset. You know, shut the door. You're going to catch a draft. Turn the lights off. We're not going to be able to afford our electricity bill. Don't eat all the food. We don't have any more money, right? We grew up with this scarcity mindset, this nickel and dime mindset. Then we get to a point where, you know, we're starting to see some abundance in our life, and we bring that same scarcity mentality into our new abundant lifestyle, and it ruins it. We start getting scared, because that's the root word of scarcity, by the way, scared, fear, right? So we start getting fearful of losing everything that we have, but abundant thinking is what got us there in the first place. Everybody wants to be a millionaire, and then when they get there, they don't want to lose that status. They don't want to lose what they work for. They start to get in this scarcity mindset. Scarcity causes shrinkage. And I'm not talking about the package that you might be thinking about. I'm talking about if you act scarcity mindset with your money and you just hoard money, money depreciates. If you have scarcity mindset with your time, time's a finite thing we have on this planet. You have a scarcity mindset with the risks that you're going to take, you're going to end up in a plateau in business. You're not going to be able to keep growing. Innovation and risk is what fuels entrepreneurism. But let's talk about abundant thinking. So what does it take to be an abundant thinker? You have to believe. And here's God's truth, not mine. It is mine because it's God, but I just don't want to claim this. But here's the truth. I have to believe, this is me thinking here, I have to believe that God has more coming for me. Therefore, if I lose something today, it was meant to be, because clearly God's got more coming for me. Clearly I haven't done I'm living life right. Clearly I haven't done anything that God would want to cut me off. Clearly I haven't lived my life in a way that hopefully shames God too much. Nobody's perfect. But my true root of abundant thinking is that God will provide. It's called faith. Now, I don't just suspect that if I don't do work, God's going to provide. I suspect that if I put in the work every day, by proxy, my partner on this planet, God Almighty, is going to pull his weight as long as I pull mine. That's why I'm such an abundant thinker. Now, whether you subscribe to that ology or not, it's between you and your maker, your higher power, your spiritual being, whatever you believe in. It's between you and that. But for me and mine, that's what we believe. And so I go into life when something happens. I used to be the scarcity-minded person. I used to be fearful. I lose an employee, and I get fearful that they might take my business. I lose a client, I get fearful they might tell everybody to leave me. I lose a wife, I'm scared I'm going to lose and never have love again. But then I realized, as I look back across my life, and if you'll look back across yours, you'll realize this too, that the entire time that I was living on the scarcities, even though I was living on the scarcity side of things, abundance was provided to me. Now, whether I decided to take and partake upon that abundance or not, may be a different story, but it was always provided for me. And I realized that I was a victim of the force of average. Here I am focused on the scarcity side of life when all along God's had abundance right there for me. And the moment that I shifted into that abundant mindset and that thinking with faith, my life changed. You know, the first G in G code is gratitude. And gratitude is the precursor to abundance. If you're grateful for what you have right now, you'll be grateful for what you have in the future. If you're grateful for what you have right now, that's abundant thinking. Rise above.